Welcome everyone and very good morning to all the listeners and student. Welcome in the next session of the subject is about transportation planning and strategic planning. In this specific section, we will try to understand the importance, why it is importance for the transportation planner and why overall the planning stages play its significant role. So you need to understand the importance of this subject that transportation planning is very much important and actually essential and basic step in shaping cities which enable your economic activities and also promote the community integration for the better quality of the life. What will happen if we did not plan? Keep in mind one thing: if we plan any project without planning, then we will end in a disaster. And as a transportation planner, it is very much important that we should plan first. If we didn't plan, so we might have issues in the terms of inefficiency, because without planning, project may lack a clear and efficient design, which also could lead to the congestion and those delays. And for your purpose for which you want to build that specific project, we might not achieve. Okay, so those are all the issues if we didn't plan. Okay, number one, inefficiency. And the second is the cost may be overdone. Maybe it's increased because as an engineer, you should always plan and design any project within the cost X limit. So if we did not fill that specific requirement, so we might end in a disaster. So there might be a safety risk issues, and also we have the environmental impact issues as well. And we might lost a lot of public uh, connection as well, because this is, you need to keep in mind that this is a taxpayer amount and you cannot use it without their permission. And we might have the ineffective resource allocation, and we might end in a different legals and regulation challenges, and the long-term sustainability might not be achieved. Okay, so to avoid those issues, it is very much important that we should adopt effective planning for all the transportation project. And we have to understand the three important indicators, such as the cost benefit analysis, how we can engage our community. And the important thing is, for the purpose you want to build that specific project, if it fulfill the desire of the people, so that means that your project will be kind of appreciated in the people eyes, in the traveler eyes. Otherwise we might lost a lot of participants. So the target outcome, what I kind of specified, if you attend those sessions, the participant will get idea how they can realize a transportation project. Realization is very much important. If you cannot realize a project, you might not be able to call yourself as a planner. And then I will try to make sure that by using different case studies and different practices, different assessment mechanisms, so each and everyone will be able to design and analyze and provide the different planning for different project. And we will try to understand the different case studies. Okay, and I will also assign the task to the student as well. So what we expect from that, all those countries where they have the national transportation policy, from those sessions they can even learn that how they can build or prepare the better transportation planning policy, while all the developing country where the policy did not exist. I can assure that while attending those sessions, you will be able to design for your own country. Okay, this is the target goal for this subject. You can get back to all those sessions through YouTube as well. Just you need to type Professor Dr. Asim Farooq, and click on the playlist. And this is the subject name is called Transportation Policy and Strategic Planning. A individual playlist will be created here. In this session, we will try to understand that why overall we need planning. The first question is, do we need planning? The second is, what is planning? What is spatial planning? What is balancing mechanism? We will try to understand the planning strategy, how we can achieve the vision and action. We will try to understand the generic planning, what is complex planning, and what type of transportation policies and integration we do have. As this is a very basic session, so I will not go in a very much details, but it is very much important that you should have idea about all those steps. First of all, I would like to listen to your comment that what kind of your planning process experience, if you have any, so you can just type a comment below that specific session through the YouTube. If you don't have, so then we all might be at a very beginner stage. But before to go in a detail, so a construction engineer and a physicist and a planner, they were arguing somewhere, and while try to understand it, whose profession is oldest, the engineer points out that God divided heaven from earth. So that was one great feat of engineering. So my profession, so engineering profession, is one of kind of an ancient and most oldest, while the physicists argued that yet, but before that, God created light. So we might think that physicist or the physics field is most ancient and old is compared to the engineer one. So if you call yourself planner, so after taking a small pause, so they both look at each other, and the planner said, yes, but before there was a chaos. So you need to understand that if we, so this is just only for like humor, okay, to understand that which profession is oldest and why do we need that. So you can get the concept of importance from here, that the planner plays a very important role. So we deal in many disciplines. As a transportation planner, we also starting from civil engineering till mechanical, information, mathematics, communication, geography, philosophy, medicine, and law. And we actually, transportation is a highly interdisciplinary field, which actually is a composition of all those relevant field. Okay, so we cannot build any project while taking in loop all those major disciplines. But before to go in the technical terminology, as a transportation fellow, you do need to understand one this philosophy. As I used to say to my student, that the philosophy of stagnation with respect to transportation. We might be stagnant if the wheel did not move. And if you take example of all those four transportation modes, starting from road, railway, airport, and harbors, so we might we might be kind of a stagnant. We might not move from our place. So if we say that transportation providers provide or make us or give us the option of dynamism. So we may be only able to move from one place to another, from origin to destination, with transportation. So if you cross that mode, we might not able to cross those geographic boundaries. So it is very much important. Okay. Now, before to go in a technical details, first of all, I would just like to get your opinion that do you know what is planning? If you don't, So basically, planning is the process where we are trying to think regarding the activities which is desired of a goal or from where we would like to achieve any goal. Okay, that part we can only achieve through planning. That is very much important. Okay, the second is about the spatial and regional growth. But before to go there, now we are trying to put here another definition, transportation planning. So planning is done. So planning is overall the process of thinking or rethinking regarding any specific activities through which we want to achieve any desired goal. But when we talk about transportation planning, so transportation is the process of looking at the current state of transportation in any region, city, country, any state, and we would like to design or to fulfill the future needs while combining all those elements of such as budget, goal, policies, visions, law, regulation, and so on. So this is called transportation planning. Okay. And the second terminology is about special planning. So these when it's come to special, that's specific, special. So special is the interdisciplinary field in the engineering which combine the social sciences which deal with the special arrangements such as like living places, living places and working places in environment. Okay, because we cannot forget the environment. It is very much important factor. And then the next part is about the urban growth, while the regional is when we are trying to plan something within the region. Okay, and when we try to understand the urban growth, that one, it is very much important because it refers to the increasing proportion of the population. Here we are trying to understand the per capita income. Okay, per capita income. And it is, of course, it is the combination or like the comparison of the rural versus urban area. Okay, which actually reflect the general increase in either of the land area or the population of any urban area size. And then the second last part, we have the urban sprawl. Uh, Urban sprawl means when it is also can be called the sprawl or subsprawl. Basically, it is the rapid expansion when the people want to live outside of the city in order to achieve the better land prices. But only issue we have is our transportation planner that all those new societies are actually completely built on the built without planning, number one, and that specific new development occur without zoning, and it is completely based on the motorized transportation. If you don't have a car, you cannot move there. Okay. And then the last concept, we have the peri-urban concept. Peri-urban concept is very much important, as you can see here in that specific picture. Here, this is the kind of a boundary line. So exactly across that boundary line, we have completely the newly built city here. And at that place, somehow we have the a bit of the mixture or the type of a rural areas. So peri-urban areas are the zone of transition from rural. So that part you can imagine is a rural part, and that part you can imagine is a urban land area. Okay. So now we are trying to jump to our main target, transportation planning goals. What we want to provide or what we want to achieve. Through your transportation planning, if we are not able to access to the employment, as I mentioned before, that we might be stagnant. So the transportation should provide the connection of areas of the employment between different density and the key activity center, which should emphasize on connecting of the kind of a high poverty rates. Okay, so that should provide the access from rural to urban area, from like origin to destination. And then we have the second part of a freight mobility. When we try to understand the freight mobility, so it's actually connect all those four modes: road, railway, container, and the airfield in the waterways. So when we combine all those four, so that means four. When we need something in the bulk, which should provide the intermodal connection to facilitate the goods within any region. Okay, and that should also provide us the safety and security, because if it is not safe, we might not attract the passenger. So as a planner, your system should be adopted in a way which should provide the safety and security to its user. Okay, a very important parameter of reliability. Can I rely on your system if I can reach from that spot to that spot in my car in like 30 minutes? If your system, if your public transportation can provide me a system where I can reach in 30 to 35 minutes, so I will use that. But if it's completely working on a faction where it might reach in 35 or like 50 minutes or like 60 minutes, so I might lose a lot of traveler. And the second important thing is, if I need to be there at 8:30, if it takes me 30 minutes, so if I took this journey at 8, if according to your provided timetable, if your vehicle arrive at 8, if it's a tram, train, or like railway, or like BRT, or like EGT, LRT, like any type of a mode. So if I can get there at the station at 8, and it can give me a ride, and I can reach to my destination exactly at 8:30, so I can rely on that system. But if it did not arrive on 8, or if it's maybe arrive at 8:05, or maybe at 7:50, so if it's work without any schedule, so we might not attract the passenger. So reliability means on something where you can rely in terms of a travel time. Okay, and the next part is congestion mitigation. Okay, important, there is a very important parameter is called avoid, shift, improve. As a transportation fellow, you need to understand those philosophies. Avoid means that how we can discourage the people to use their own car, their own motorized transportation, and how we can shift their mode from their personal to public transport. And then the last part is, do they fulfill all those requirements of the traveler in terms of accessibility, safety, security, reliability, and so on. So the congestion mitigation which support the transportation system that address the existing as well as the expected future traffic congestion. Okay, congestion means to reach to any place without delay. Okay, and then the next part we have the EIA. Of course, nowadays the whole world need sustainable and integrated transportation system, because it is the call of this world where we can provide such type of a project or different transportation mode which enhance the region existed regional natural resources which can damage the environment in a very less way. And then the next part, you need to understand the multimodal connectivity, how you can connect someone if he can travel through foot from his home, go to the cycle stand, take the cycle, and then go to the train station, and then park his ride at the train station, and then reach to his work. So at this stage, he is using three modes, 1, 2, and 3. This is called the multimodal connectivity, or how you can connect the uh, train, tram, BRT, light rail transit, local buses together, which could fulfill the individual desire travel plan or pattern. Okay, and then in the second last part, we have the preservation and maintenance, which should ensure the existing transportation infrastructure facilities to achieve the constant and good repair of the state. And then we have how we can, at the state level, at the country level, we can integrate it all those transportation modes. So it is very important that every state should have a vision, mission. Okay. Sometimes we do have a vision and mission, but we don't have the action. So action is very much important. If you don't have any action, action means the doing mechanism, the doing way. So what is transportation planning process? Is we already discussed that it is the process where we usually look at the current state of transportation in the region while to design the future transportation needs, demand of the people, while also considering different budget goal policies and so on. So now the question is how the community or city can grow by evaluating or bringing everything from cargo ship to the public transit and bike lane. So as you can see here, from ride sharing, ride hailing, ride electric cars through, it should provide the aging in places. So it should provide all those parameters. So in the way of planning and process, we should have a very clear vision and goals. We should understand that what is existing in future condition needs and demand, and in the existing, we will have idea that how much capacity we do have and how much now we need to adopt to increase or to fulfill that specific demand. And then we need to understand through assessment that which project is required and which project is not required. And then we need to develop a strategy. This is the methodology, which is kind of a uh, hands-on scale, that how you can achieve that vision, goals and objective. Look, it is not bad to have a vision and mission, but the important thing is that how you can develop those strategies to achieve that vision and mission. Okay. And a very important part of that which project should be prioritized, and there should be a mechanism, like for example in Germany, if I give you example of a Germany, so they have the public opinion participation voting mechanism, where they actually select that among those one, two, three, which project we actually needed. And all those projects, they have vision, objective, goals, fund, and environmental impact assessment. Okay. So all those information provided, and then each and every individual give vote to any of the project. And then who will, from which source we will provide the funds, and how we can monitor that specific system. Okay. So far we have discussed different planning process, visions and goals. Now, I would like to give you example from the special development of the case study of Amsterdam region, that how it is built from 1930 to 1955. Okay, here you can see that here we have a very limited portion, and a bit of the scared population were living across that specific city center. But with passage of time, as you can see here, that population were increasing within 30 years. Okay. And then after again 15 years, different ways were also built, were discovered where most of the people actually live. So you can imagine that part is an urban area and that part is an urban sprawl. But here with passage of time, that urban sprawl reached to the semi-urban area. Okay. And then in the 1955, that one became a one of the city center, while all those different elements became the kind of a supporting or like somehow you can call it the different populations which were actually living across that specific city center. So in that specific case study, why I would like to bring this into that specific session discussion, so that you need to understand that the population lives in the urban area. Uh, this is this typical example of the Amsterdam. So that the which is continuously using more land per capita, and the space is increasing. The number of usage of space is increasing. So now we need to somehow draw the line between land use versus development. Okay. I'm not saying that we should not utilize the land or we should not build the city, but there should be a balanced system between both of the land use versus the development. Because when you develop something, so that means that that is a kind of a specific activity where someone would like to live. So if you look into that, if the same area were agriculture before, so that area agriculture power is completely finished, like forever. So we need the balancing mechanism between different fields, because this is the modern day practices where we should increase or use the land use planning in the way so that we can plan for the city, we could stabilize its economy, and we should also look for the alternative energy. And also the same city requirement should be fulfilled through agriculture, and how we can provide green spots, and then how we can look for the integrated sustainable transportation. So when we are trying to combine all those different facilities, so this is called the balancing mechanism, the balancing planning between different fields. In this whole session, we will try to understand all those elements in session one by one. This is one typical example from the very amazing book, which was published in 2007. It's called Urban and Transit System and Technologies. So here we are trying to understand the minor way, arterial way, separate way, common carrier way, and the large city. Okay. So that specific, that is our one small city, which was connected before with the minor ways here. But in then second case, when we are trying to call it the medium city, so apart from minor, we move to the arterial and separate ways. Okay, here. So those two cases were actually used. But when we look to the small city, in the small city, we only had the arterial ways, only that one. But when we look to the large city, which we call mega city, so it is a freeways for the rapid transit, where all those four modes were actually adopted and developed. So the common transportation policy aims to achieve sufficient mobility, which should have the adequate needs needs which should be created by the economic growth. Uh, Development should not limit the future mobility of the people and good. Okay, it should not limit. That doesn't mean that if we have the requirement of like 100 people, so we should build for like 50 people. No, this is completely wrong. We should, if it's 100, so according to the birth rate, we should at least do our planning for 30 years. And along with that route, along with that planning, there should be the way of extension as well. So this is just the figure to give you or extend you that how we can move from very small settlement to the large city. So it is kind of an ongoing process. So we have different transportation policies and integration. At the level one, we have the city balance, which actually connect different uh, economy transport. If you people remember, we already covered that part in the introduction to transportation system. And then we have the integration of those multimodal. At the end of the lecture, I will provide the link as well, so you can get back to that specific slide. Okay. So transportation policies in the context of different special planning. So we have different type of a structural living area and different transit system, and then different green structure, and then different commerce and mall location as well. So if you take example of San Sebastian, so they are using the structure in a way where we have the different type of a uh, nucleus or city center. Okay, as you can see here. If we take example of a Belfast, so they use the example of a container. As you can see here, at that spot they have completely built up area, and then it's going on. Okay, and then in Berlin, so it is completely patchwork. So like it is in the radial circle type of a network. Okay, and then so different areas have different kind of a example. So you need to understand that which transportation policies and which special planning you want to adopt as a planner for your city. Okay, and planning is a goal oriented, and it is a document where we want to provide the information about the decision. Look, planning doesn't mean that we are doing something. We are trying to build the initial study that how we can build that specific project. Okay, so the first question is that why do we need planning? For what? To solve the problem, right? To solve the problem. To what end? What we want to do, we want to establish a plan in which the plan of action should be provide the solution to any problem, and then to fulfill any specific goal. Okay, how? So in the organized process, in the organized process, it is very much important as a planner that you should understand those 5 to 7 W's. Okay, and then for whom? Who is our target? Okay, we want to establish it for the general well-being, for the people, for the inhabitants, traveler, the people who used to live there. And who is doing that? By whom? The professionals, the planners, politician groups, stakeholders. So all those should be the part of that. When so that should be a continuous process where we should evaluate the priority and importance. Which project is important, when it should be built first, which one should be built second, which one should be built third, and where. Of course, we are trying to target the cities, region, states, and the countries. So the planning principle, that the good planning principle should require the the method or the kind of a systematic process which should clearly define the steps which should lead your solution to the optimal solution. Look, a person cannot call engineer himself if he is not able to provide the systematic solution to the unsolved problem. The same is the situation with the planner. If he cannot provide the optimal solution to the unsolved problem, so he if he end in a planning, so he might end in a disaster, as I mentioned again and again. So your planning should be comprehensive. What does it mean by comprehensive? All the significant options and its impact should be considered, number one. Second is efficient. In which way? The process should not waste what? Time and money. Those are the two important resources. Inclusive means that the people should the kind of people affected by the plan have the opportunities to be involved. So you should consider them. We should not ignore them. And informative. So informative means that we should provide different type of alternative that how we can resolve or provide the solution. So then people can decide about themselves and then integrate it. We should have short term and long-term goals for any project. And each and every step should be logical. So like after one step, there should be second one, third one, fourth one, where we can see that this is the vision and this is the building stage, building mechanism, and each and every step is kind of aligned with each other. Okay? And transparent because it's a people money and everybody should be involved in the decision process, in the decision making. Because if your domain, if your job is to provide all the details with the planning, so you should do your own job and the people will do their own job because it's a taxpayer amount. And we cannot forget those people who actually usually pay around 40 to 45 or like 50% of their tax to the states. And then we have the classical planning process. We will try to understand those those important element one by one. So first of all, we should come up with the pre-orientation mechanism, how we can solve that problem and what kind of different alternatives we can provide to solve that problem, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and what kind of consideration and decision we should make and how we can implement that project. Uh, Vision is your view of the future, and this is very much important. And strategy, that specific part, is explain the approach how you will realize the future state, and action is actually the way to achieve that vision. Look, all those three elements are incomplete without each other. If you have a vision, if you don't have action and strategy, you cannot fulfill your vision. If you have a vision and strategy but you don't have action, of course you cannot achieve that part. So now I would like to guide all the participant and listener that they should look for like all those projects. So like planning process or like regional governance means that how we can road to zero strategy and its action plan. So this is action, what we want to do, and this is our strategy, and this is our vision. We want to do it because we want to achieve the vision zero strategy. And what is our strategy? How we will do that? We will provide the principle to make sure that the transportation solution should keep people safe and secure. So this is a generic planning process. Okay, so here if we are trying to understand that what kind of planner scales should be look like, so planners work at the different domain in the different transportation system. If it's a road, if it's a railway, if it's a ships in harbor, if it's a tram and boat and shipping together. So each and every uh, planner should accurate critically and objectively, because if you cannot determine the problem, and he should have the idea how to collect and analyze the data and which type of data is relevant. Okay, he should apply the general concept to the different specific solution. He should also be able to, or his capacity should be built in a way that he should provide the different complex process, and she should have the idea that how he can communicate, and then he should listen to each and every input and try to incorporate it in his planning. So what is transportation planning basically means? So transportation is a way where he or she should provide the regional planning model where which we can define different goals, objective, identify its problem, alternative, evaluating alternative, and provide different plans. Okay. So if we just say if we explain transportation planning process in a simple word, that it is a combination of a multidisciplinary field where all each and every indicator is working to promote sustainability. So where we should consider the political, the organizational, the behavior, the environmental. So the role of transportation planner is shifting from technically analysis, where he should promote it to the sustainability through integrated transport policy. This is the definition of transportation planning. Those are the different literatures where which you should, if you have a time, you can have a look to those 5, 6 point. I also provide somehow its direct link as well.